Hashtag Lizzo is over party is trending on Twitter because of her performance with Harry Styles.
She looks horrible. She's booming around the stage, just slam.
What a disgusting slab of beef.
I saw this performance of you and Mr. Harry Styles. It was very racy.
You know that Harry Styles loves me. So like an old married couple.
Is that what you do?
I think people were like, how dare she?
This fat acceptance movement and big, beautiful. No, you're obese. You've eaten too much food.
I believed him. When he said it to me, I was like, yeah, he's right. So I had all of this like self-loathing and I wasn't eating and I was so upset. The trauma in that small moment has affected me in so many ways. I was crying in the bathroom and I was so unhappy. I would look in the mirror and just be like, I just want to cut my stomach off.
Yep.
Why can't I just cut it off? It forced me to really look at myself in a magnifying glass. It was very bleak. I was like, who the hell do I think I am?
And they call it fat phobia. Her weight should not be celebrated, and there isn't enough body positivity in the world that will cure diabetes.
I wanted to die. I didn't want to kill myself, but I was like, done.
You're a vampire.
You're a witch.
I don't get to choose who I love.
You need to be careful.
I didn't want to kill myself, but I was like, done. I'm like this fucking survivor that shouldn't be here. Like, y'all didn't want me to win. Y'all don't want me to even fucking exist, huh? I grew up fat. I was always a big girl. There was this one dude, literally from 5th grade to high school, who would call me fat ass every day on the bus. I would get on the bus and be like, what's up, fat ass? But for me, like, that was hurtful. The most popular guy in school, basketball player, is calling me fat ass and like it's funny to other people. And I would have the worst attitude because if I look mad, you know, maybe people will believe something's wrong and they won't bother me about it. And he created this like warped self-image. And I feel like my problems with myself or my problems with people will resolve on their own if I just hold it in.
Lizzo's father saw something in her that she couldn't see in herself.
My dad dreamed about my name before I was born. He would be like, you're gonna sing and you're gonna play the flute. And I was like, but I don't know how to sing. He's like, you're gonna sing anyway. He wanted us to be successful. So whatever it was, he would like push you to do it.
With her dad's support, Lizzo started to perform, but she was still painfully insecure.
I also buried myself in music and playing flute. I was just nervous to be out front and center by myself. I felt like because I looked the way that I looked that people didn't really want to look at just me. So I always had like my girlfriends around me and I was like, yeah, we're a girl group. And I was like, nobody wants to hear what I have to say.
But Lizzo's dad kept pushing his daughter to shine on her own.
My dad was really pointed about the flute in my music career and his health was failing. I remember being like, okay, I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna make a lot of money so I can take care of my dad. What happened was I posted a video where I was playing the flute and people loved it and I was like, oh, y'all like this? Okay. And I did it on stage and it just took a life of its own.
But just as Lizzo was building her confidence and her career, a devastating phone call changed everything.
I was the last to know. I missed the phone call. I was in the shower and I had all these missed phone calls. And then I called my sister and she just goes, Dad's dead. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's not the way you say that to somebody. And I just remember I like threw my phone down and I was so upset. Like, that's not the way I should have heard that. The trauma in that small moment has affected me in so many ways. Like, I was crying in the bathroom and then I was going to the stage and I was like, I don't want to play this show. And then I got on stage and I performed. And then I walked off stage and I was still crying and I was still sad. And that had never happened. When I looked at my surroundings, it was very bleak. I was like, who the hell do I think I am? I was like, everything that I'd been doing prior to that was for nothing. I dropped out of college. I lost my car and then I got evicted from my apartment and then I lost my job. But I also was so young and going through so much emotional turmoil. I had all of this like self-loathing. I wasn't eating and I was also like trying to like be thin. I was like working out a lot. I would look in the mirror and just be like, I just want to cut my stomach off. Yep. Why can't I just cut it off? Not even plastic surgery, just right now get a knife and just cut this thing off.
And with her confidence at an all-time low, Lizzo was forced to face what she saw in the mirror.
I did this interview. I took off a piece of clothing and I had to talk about my body, but it was so big for me because back then I was covering up a lot. I had to like talk about my journey with my body and loving my body, and within that interview I had this like catharsis because they asked me what was my favorite thing about myself, and I was like, oh my God, it made me appreciate my skin. I love my skin. I started crying in this interview because I was like, I've never realized that before. I never could put into words anything about my body that I loved, and I didn't realize how much I love my skin. I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna be in this body forever. So it's like, you either live your life not liking her, or you live your life trying to love her.
So Lizo started making positive changes.
And change is painful, and I think you have to sign yourself up for that. So I looked up and I was like, I'm in a band, I'm playing music, but I don't have a car, I don't have a house, and I don't have a job. And I was like, okay, what do I do? So I was sleeping on my drummer's floor, and I slept at the studio that my band would rehearse at. I had spent a year and a half of my life showering at 24 Hour Fitness and, you know, living like that. I'm not an overnight success story. I'm definitely like a grind until I get where I'm going.
And when she finally embraced herself, something magical happened.
I've looked the same way I've looked my entire life, but it wasn't until I started saying, you are beautiful, you can do anything, that the whole world started saying that to me.
Lizzo is sitting pretty at the top. The show's stopping artist just scored her first #1.
But as her fans grew, so did her haters.
Hashtag Lizzo is over party is trending on Twitter because of her performance with Harry Styles.
She looks horrible. Her like gyrating and shaking on stage, like starting a earthquake basically.
Except this time, Lizzo was confident enough to handle it.
Don't worry about it, me and Harry Styles, we good. That's my friend. And it may come as a surprise to some of y'all that I'm not working out to have your ideal body type. I'm working out to have my ideal body type.
Because Lizzo is finally the confident star her father always knew she could be.
I definitely always wanted my father to be around to see all of this. I hope that he's proud, and my whole life will be dedicated to making my dad proud. Being yourself isn't always the most popular thing, but being yourself is always going to be true, and the truth is what sets you free. I want you to know if you can love me, you can love your goddamn self. I used to wake up and wish I was somebody else, but now I am so grateful to be myself. I'm so proud of who I am, and I wouldn't trade my life for anything in the world. I really just urge you to embrace yourself. These people may not understand you, but the whole world will embrace you one day when you embrace yourself.